And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on section 9 because I've gone over muscle testing before, and it's something we'll always do in group. So I'm going to, and this is just a small section anyway, and then we're going to watch the movie and maybe do some sessions in between the movie, before we do the movie, so we can just do the movie and not have anything to do after that. So muscle testing. There's a couple of ways of doing muscle testing, and you've got a sheet. I forgot to put those out. Some people had them laminated. Did you have a muscle test sheet from last week? Yeah, you've got one. Good. Is there?
I left it here because I figured we weren't going to need it this week.
I got that one. There's a couple of levels of muscle testing. And you know, everybody know what muscle testing is in here, I'm pretty sure. You hold an item, you push the arm down. If your arm stays strong, that means it's good for you. If your arm goes down, it's quote-unquote bad for you. Well, that's one way of muscle testing, but ideally, going back to that concept of non-judgment, which is kind of the new thing that's been coming into the group, is that when you go to muscle test something, you should be strong on everything, not weak. So if something shows up weak for you, it means that you have let me change my words. If it shows up weak for you, you've got a discordant energy with that item, okay? But you could still need it. What people have done with muscle testing in the past is if you're strong, you need it, and if you're weak, you don't need it. But to me, you know, I don't stop at the surface level. I try to keep going further. And if you think about that, just because someone shows up weak, it could be that, let's say, they have an allergy to it. And next week we're going to cover clearing allergies with the tapping stuff, which is really simple. Just like you're saying a phrase and tapping on yourself, you're holding the substance in your hand and tapping. You may tap for days or weeks to get rid of it completely, but you're holding the disturbance in your field, the item, if you hand. Or you can even go if you don't have it, like say pollen in the air, you can just write that on a piece of paper. It's the same energy, and then hold that in your field and tap it. Because all you're doing when we're saying stuff, you don't have to even say anything to tap. All we're doing when we're saying stuff is we're keeping that disturbance focused in the energy field and let it cause its disturbance. So if you hold an item to get muscle tested, as soon as you touch it, it's going to throw your energy system out, and that's why you show weak. But the thing about it, it doesn't mean that you don't need it though sometimes. So I take another level of the testing. First question is if it shows up strong. If it shows up strong, the next question would be, do you need it? And then if the arm goes weak, meaning no, then you're done because you're obviously good with the item, but they just don't need it right now. But if it shows weak, the next question would be, do they need it? And it might mean yes. Then the next thing you would go into is, can we clear this so that they can take it? In other words, like with Tracy and her inability to absorb iron. Well, if somebody muscle tested her with iron, she may show weak just because she's unable to process it, though, even though her body's screaming for it. So then you would go, okay, if then it says, does she need the iron and the arm is strong, then you have to go through and figure out which meridian it is, or you don't have to go through all that trouble. You can just simply tap all the meridians for a couple of days or weeks, depending on until that person's good with it. And sometimes with allergies or sensitivities, it's easy to see because you can put it on the skin. You can take it and see how you instantaneously feel. But that's not with everything. Things are always fluctuating. It's because there's a thing called intolerances, which are harder to find than allergies. An intolerance is you may eat something, but it doesn't disturb you until you get to your small intestine, which some people have really bad digestion, could be the next day, and they feel weird, but they don't know where it came from. That's hard to track down that way. But if you're muscle testing something, what you can then do is see, is it blowing a particular meridian? And if it is, then you can have them tap that meridian, and then over a time period, especially with clearing something like this, and yes, energy work can happen instantaneously like that, but in certain cases it can be a little bit slow, and somebody has an allergy reaction, or let's say they have a negative reaction to medications or something. You want to continually hit that over and over and over and over to get them to a good place. So that's the sheet that you have there that goes through that whole protocol. I'm gonna grab a few things here. Muscle test.
Actually, I need this review. For some reason, I have a hard time with this.
Carla, why don't you come on up? And I was going to share this with you last time you missed. And remember when we did that PTSD tapping stuff?
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention that night is about there's some supplementation that really helps with anxiety, stress, and things like that. So sometimes you're tapping on something, it doesn't hurt, actually helps a lot to tackle things on a couple different levels. So you're going to come over here. I'm going to show you the typical tapping, or sorry, the typical muscle test is you bring somebody's arm up. Is this arm injured in any way?
No.
Okay. You want to make
But
sure
I'm
that,
left-handed, does that matter?
not really.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter which side as long as their shoulder's not injured, because you don't want to try to muscle test somebody's injured arm. And it's not a muscle test, it's really an energy test. If it was a muscle test, the muscle should stay strong all the time. It's just called a muscle test. So you come up, you come in about a 45-degree angle, the thumb is up, and I'm touching above the wrist, so I'm not pushing on the wrist, about here. I'm just using 2 fingers, and I'm just going to say resist. You try to keep your arm there, resist. And that's it. Only takes and relax in between each one. We just want to see where she is. Now there's a thing called switching that you can check for. Is it on that sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it then. Switching is put your palm on top of your head, raise your arm, thumb up, resist. Good. Now put the hand upside down on your, there you go. Resist. A little bit. When you're switched, the palm down, the arm should be strong. Upside down, the arm should be weak. That's a polarity thing. This is when you put 2 magnets together. You know, one time they'll attract and they'll repel. So I'm just going to do an unswitching thing with her. Now, you're a little dehydrated as well, picking up. I've got another water. I should just get on that. Sometimes water is the only thing that's going, because where water carries electricity. At least that's the belief here. Let's try all that again. Hand on palm down top of the head.
Palm down first.
Yep. You can do either way, it doesn't matter. Resist. Good. Now upside down. Resist. That's more like it. Do you see how she gave a little bit? Just a little bit of jink? And you can look like, you're not like this. You can look at the arm like a meter. Sometimes you'll muscle test somebody and the arm just goes, that's really bad. But if it just gives a little bit, you know, it's not perfect for them. You should actually be strong or stronger if it's something that's going to be good for them, okay? So I'm just going to play with this, and I like to do a blind testing most of the time, because I don't care what people tell you out there. It's all related to consciousness in this realm, and muscle testing can be screwed with. If I'm muscle testing you and I have a perception of what I think you need to be taking, I can make it strong or weak. And if you're thinking, I really don't need that, well, you can affect it too. So when you're muscle testing somebody, you've got to be in that non-judgmental, I don't give a shit attitude, really. So put your arm here, so it doesn't, hold it there. I like it on the thymus because that's like your heart center. It's what's coming into you. Sometimes food is a good idea to hold on the abdomen. You just kind of play with it. So the first thing I'm testing for, I'm not asking any questions. I'm just testing to see if this is okay with her. I don't have to say anything. Resist? No, right? So what would be my next question based on that sheet? Right. Does Carla need this item? Resist? Yeah, a little bit. Maybe not a lot. There's something in here. Let me try that again. Did you notice a difference?
Mm-mm.
You didn't?
Okay.
I noticed you looked at it. So let me go
No,
back.
I haven't looked at it.
No, I mean, I noticed you had that.
I was trying to not look
I
at it to
see.
see what in case it had the name on it.
Okay, I'm just going to do no muscle testing on this. Resist. It's weak a little bit. Okay. Does Carla need this item? Resist. No, I did a mess up on that. So it's not good for her and she doesn't need it. So there would be no need to do anything further with this. This is adrenal health, but it's got a couple of things in here. It's got ginseng, holy basil, it's got Ayurvedic herbs, some basil leaf, wild oats, and it could be just one item in here she doesn't need. It could have been, that's why it was kind of spongy.
Now, if she had ingested anything that would affect the adrenals, like caffeine, would that change the test?
Not really. Just because I'm focused on, is this okay with her right now? Because really, it's just how you manipulate the consciousness of it. So let's try this now. Just hold that there. And you're just trying to keep your arm right there. Resist. Resist. That's a good one. Sometimes if it's iffy, it's usually me. So I'm trying to talk and not think as well at the same time. So I have to like quiet my mind. So now let's see. It's strong for her. Let's see if she needs it. Does Carla need this item? Resist? Yes. Okay. So the good, she's actually really needs it because it was. Did you feel the strong difference? Okay. So this is actually B5, and B5 is a pantothenic acid, the other name for it, and it feeds your adrenals. And when you're in stress for any amount of time, your adrenals just go to shit. So we got two strong responses, so I don't have to worry about clearing of it, all right? So you get what I'm saying? If it's weak and it's weak, forget it. They don't need it. If it's strong and it's strong, there's only one other thing. You can just tell them to take it, as the label says. Or if you want to be more specific, you can sit here and find that exactly. So hold your hand there, put it here. So I'm just going to muscle test with the quantities in her hand until it goes weak. Now I back up one and it tells me that's what she needs, okay? Resist. Relax. Relax in between.
Okay.
Otherwise, your arm will start interfering with the test. You can just hold that one. Resist. She's stronger with 2 than 1. Resist. Whoa. Resist. Yeah. 2's it. You see how she was like, was strong, stronger. 2 is definitely an enemy. So 2 a day is what she would want to take on B5. That's a 500 milligrams, so that's 1,000 milligrams of B5. So let's see.
What I need.
Have you eaten any time recently?
I ate
At lunch. Girl, lunch. All right. Then you better not take. You can take those with you, but B vitamins tend to upset the stomach. So
I'm taking an antibiotic. I just my last night for that
tooth.
the tooth.
Okay. Here, let me just play a little bit because we've had the two. There's 3 scenarios. Strong. Strong to the item. Strong, which means they need it. Then all you do is find out how many. Strong, that they're okay at the item. Weak, that they don't need it. Then you just, that was the first thing we did. You just don't, or actually it was weak. So there's 4 things. Weak means just stay the hell away from it for that person. Strong meaning the item's good and they go weak after, do they need it? Then they just don't need it. Which is good because if they come in contact with that item. But the one I want to play with, we haven't gotten into yet, is when she shows weak for the item, but strong that she needs it. Then there's other steps to do. So let's try this. I'm not trying to create that. I'm just letting it be real. So, resist. Resist. Whoa. Okay. Does she need this? Resist. I'd stay away from that.
What is it?
It is actually I-Flora. It's a probiotic, which is interesting because
I have a probiotic I'm taking.
That's why you don't get it.
could be. Or it could be that
If that's what you needed.
But she tested weak.
yeah, she was weak. So, yeah,
It's just in the vitamin that I take.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't need it because she's already taken it.
that's a possibility, but it can also be that that probiotic is messing her up too.
So I should bring that.
Yeah, you should bring that, or muscle test yourself, or bring it by. I can muscle test it ahead of time. Let me say one other thing here. That's the downside of multivitamins, is you may need a couple of things out of that, but you may not need a lot of it. So you're actually weakening a lot of your energy system, and just, you know, it's basically, if this was strong and you take a multivitamin, it's actually bringing you down, because the little bit of benefit you're getting in one area is being taken away by all the negativity in another area. Multivitamins are not that good for you. They're better than nothing sometimes, but not all
It's
the
not a
time.
vitamin. It's one of those things that has like all the fruits in it, fruits and vegetables,
Okay.
and then it has probiotics.
So, resist. Okay. Does she need this? Resist. Let's see. Sometimes when you're muscle testing somebody, they'll switch. So put your hand on top of your head. Resist. Hand upside down. Hand upside down. Resist. Yeah, she switched a little bit.
So that, when you
Relax.
say,
Go ahead.
when you say switch,
Whenever you're switching, all that means is the answer is you can't trust, because their energy is going backwards.
so you might got two of the opposites. Maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. If you're switched, this is supposed to be strong. Palm down on your head should be strong. Palm upside down should be weak. But when you're switched, it doesn't matter. You can be strong here, weak here, weak here. It's going to be opposite of what you should be getting. One of them is going to be opposite or both of them. It doesn't matter. So if this is not weak, it's switched. If this is not strong, you're switched. If this isn't weak, you're switched.
Ah,
And I was just feeling
I don't know why that was.
with her responses that she was switched. And when you get a lot of stress going on, muscle testing it's using the energy system, right? So she's dealing with a lot of stress, and that little bit of muscle testing can throw her out. What did I muscle test? Is it this?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold that. Hold that. Resist. Now we're strong. Big difference. Now, does she need this? Resist. Does she need this? Resist. No. It's a big complex. That has pantothenic acid and everything else. That's another example. Pantothenic acid she showed she needed, which is in here, but some of these others she may not need.
I take that one and it always was good for me.
The complex?
The complex
Yeah.
and the B12.
Mhm. All the
Take
B,
extra B12.
you can think about the B's as builders, and C is like a cleanser. And that's exactly what they do. All the B vitamins build your nervous system, and when you're stressed all the time, your nervous system's for the shit. So resist, strong. Does she need this? Resist, stronger. So this is something she needs, and this is something I just grabbed from back there. I've got a collection of things I don't even use anymore. This is L-theanine, and it helps reduce anxiety. It's an amino acid. So hold that. Let's put it over. So now I'm just testing for the number of them. Resist. That one didn't do anything. Two, resist. That's much stronger. To what?
That is very good.
And in my mind, I'm going a day. Okay, so I didn't tell you that. So I'm thinking about how many she'd need during a day. Resist. So two, again. She would need two a day. And L-theanine you probably want to take in the evening, just because it does tend to chill people out quite a bit. So if you took it during,
Can you get that as essential?
you know, I don't know, you can probably get it in lots of different places.
Okay.
You can,
I need to write those down.
Yeah, but the one
write that
is
down.
very important on that one because they come out with
Some bad
cheap,
ones.
yeah, kinds.
What?
let's pretend, I'm going to pretend here with Carla that this was bad for her, okay? I'm going to show you on your sheet here. Let me look at my sheet because I do. What
You
is
want
it,
weak
Dad?
strong.
Huh?
You want weak strong.
Yeah.
That's the one we have to have.
Yeah. I'm going to pretend though. I'm going to pretend that it showed up weak to it generally, but it showed up strong. She needs it. So it means probably she's not being able to digest it in some way. But I'm not going to make that jump. What I'm going to do is this is where we get to page 5 or number 5, and this is the questions that you need to ask. So it showed up as a negative charge as far as it being, but yes, they need it. So this is where the color questions start. So what's that? They need to stay away from the item. No. Oh, sorry. I need to tap all the meridians is the first question. Which would be the easy way. If you show up weak and you don't want to figure out exactly which meridian, you just tap all of them. So I'm going to make this up. We'll just see what happens. Do we need to tap all the meridians? And it's no. Okay? So that means I'm just going to tap a particular one. So I'll just start asking. Fire, resist. Okay? Earth, resist. Yes. So on the chart, you're going to see that there are 2 meridians out from there. You see that? Okay? And then I go, okay, is it the stomach meridian? No. Spleen? Yes. Okay? And then what I recommend is you sit there and you write down what they, so we got 1 the spleen. Now I'm going to go on to metal. Metal's okay. Water? Yeah, water. Kidneys? Yes. Bladder? No. Wood? No. So I made that up really. So then we got spleen and what was it?
Kidney?
Spleen and kidneys. So you have the person hold an item, and then you could work the spleen meridians, and then the kidney meridians. And with this, you don't have to say anything because you have the thing disturbing you in your field, right? And then what I would tell the person, or if it's you, you want to be tapping on this for at least a week. And then and sometimes you can even tell them that if they take it, you can just have them tap on themselves after they take it. Because basically what's going to happen is she takes it in, and it's going to blow out her spleen. Her spleen's not going to work like it needs to, and her kidneys aren't going to work like they need to. So if you're there's lots of things people take as a quote-unquote good for you. Dr. Oz tells everybody that something's good for them, they go around and grab it. Well, it may not be good for you. You may be doing the opposite of what you want to do. Does that make sense with that?
Can we pretend this is coconut oil?
We'll just pretend with nothing.
Because I've really wondered, I've been making coconut oil.
Okay. You don't have to even have a piece of paper. I mean, if you can hold something in your consciousness clean enough, then you can just use your mind. If you feel better, you can write it on a piece of paper. Just like Dr. Emoto, those words have energy. But your thoughts have energy too. So, coconut oil, general, overall goodness, coconut oil, resist. Does she need coconut oil? Resist? Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else you can think of?
Ruby reds.
Ruby red? Or the
Yes,
grapefruit?
grapefruit. Oh, the grapefruit.
No, it's not
No?
the grapefruit. It's called Ruby Red's Vitality.
It's like
Oh,
a
it's like a
multi-liquid?
powder drink.
Oh, powder drink. Okay. I have to clear my mind on that because I had a
I was
judgment.
just
So
making a joke.
my judgment jumped in, so I got to clear that and get neutral on that. Ruby red, resist. It's not strengthening you, it's weakening you a little bit. Not bad though. Does she need it? Resist. No, you don't need that. It's weakening. So if your general test is here and you're strong, and it's something weakens you a little bit, in my book, you want to stay away from anything that takes you down. If it doesn't strengthen you, then don't even waste the money because that's money for those things. So what else? What else do you?
Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar.
I do that.
Me too.
Apple
I
cider.
love it.
Apple cider vinegar, resist. Apple cider vinegar, resist. That's not good at all for you. Does she need apple cider vinegar? Resist. Not so much. Let me do it one time. Does she need apple cider vinegar? Resist. No. I would stay away from that. Again, it's one of those things, just because you think a banana is good, it may be killing your system in some way. And that vinegar is pretty harsh stuff, especially over a long period of time. See, the thing about it is nobody's body was made to have continually the same thing,
Right.
the same reactions, the same environment. We're supposed to be having new things all the time. And when you're taking certain things over and over, you're getting it entrenched in a particular pattern. And what happens is from there, you develop an allergy to it because your body's like starting to tell you, I don't need this. You keep giving me this shit, I don't need this shit. And what happens, you get worse and worse from that. So, yeah, I would take that out completely. And then maybe take it in later or do it.
Just do it last.
Yeah. What I
Once
do,
a week
I do
or-
it
Rotate,
one
take
bottle, whatever it lasts, and then I start for 3,
Yeah.
4 months, 4, 5 months sometimes. And
Okay.
then I start again.
Okay. I got me something like that.
Yeah.
I need my allergy medicine because I think that's what is the heavy messing me up.
Let's see if the antibiotic is blowing you anywhere. Antibiotic? Resist? Actually, you need it. Or actually, you're okay with it. You need it, resist? Not so much. That's one of those things you wouldn't mess with. I mean, you're taking it,
I'm
it's
taking
okay.
it because I
Yeah.
kind of have to.
Yeah.
Can you test me for
Sure,
the
sure.
allergies?
That's really cool.
I have such a resistance with that.
With what?
With the allergy shots.
Oh, allergy stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's come in a little bit. I'm just going to do a general muscle test here. Resist. You keep your arm where it is. Resist. Okay. Relax your arm a second. And you can do the testing you want if you want to. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. Resist. Resist. So she's okay. She wasn't switched. So now you're going to focus on that allergy shot, okay? Allergy shot. Resist. It's not super strong, but it's not killing you. Do you need the allergy shot? Resist. Not much. I mean, you're on the edge of needing it,
it's
not
like,
needing it. Anything else?
I'm thinking what else I'm taking out. The multivitamins.
Okay. Just keep them in your mind. I would hope.
Okay.
Multivitamin. Resist. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's
Okay. And there's a way you can muscle test yourself. I'll go over that. Is you just make an okay with your non-dominant hand. So if your right hand's dominant, do the okay with the left hand, and then you make like a beak with the other hand. So one's a circle, one's like a pointed beak on a bird, and basically you stick the beak inside the circle, the O-ring. And this is something you've got to train yourself to do because it's all consciousness. I don't use this muscle test anymore. I just simply use one finger flick because it's easier. I can hold all this stuff. You know, if I've got to do this, I've got to like, you know. But this is a good one for yourself. Basically, it's the same thing. When it breaks, it's like, just like the arm going down because it means it went weak, right? If it stays strong, then it's a yes response. So that'd be the strong response. If you're holding something, and let's say it's strong in general, which is good, then I go, do you need it? It says no. So that means I could take it if I wanted to, but it's, you know, I'm wasting my money if I don't really need it.
Those adrenal, I used to use those too, and for me they were really, really good. My body immediately tells me this is I don't want this.
Right.
Immediately.
Like when you're really in touch, what happens with even the muscle testing is if you can just hold it, you can feel if it's going to do you any good or not. And that's how I do most of my pills anymore. It's like I'll just open up the thing, and where my eyes land, it's like this. You know, it's just like that hologram kind of idea, if you will. It's like wherever you're focused on, it's going to catch your attention in the reality. So if you're focused on negativity in relationships, you're going to be catching that out in your reality. So if I'm focused on a particular thing and then I look into my cabinet, it's like that thing is going to jump out at me. Always works that way.
The open ones are what I need.
No. That one you tested weak on. It was the,
Yeah.
this is the one that I set there. I thought, oh, this one.
LP and stuff.
And B5. LP. And that's just amino acids.
Okay.
And amino acids are really key in your health, everybody's health.
Just out of curiosity, when you just do a finger flick, how do you know what it's telling you?
But see how this keeps strong?
No, I'm talking about when you do the finger.
I know, but what I'm saying,
Yeah.
this is strong, it means same thing as this
Right.
being strong, same thing as this being strong. So if my finger breaks, so that all I'm doing with this one is I'm turning these two things into one thing. So my thumb is catching my
I
finger,
get it, okay.
and then when it's a certain, it loosens. It's done on purpose. You have to you've got to do the exact same thing. But here's the thing. It's really not a muscle test, it's an energy test.
Right.
You're just making this shit up, to be honest. Even the muscle test is made up. It's all made up stuff. So if you can believe it, it'll work. Because I used to play at the pendulum, but I never could believe them because I doubt myself. I get a little answer and I go, are you sure? And then, are you sure? You know, it's like, then by then you're getting two different answers. So it's not sure because you're not sure. But if you just trust it, I don't care what you train yourself to do. This is another one here. Everybody rub their hands lightly together. Lightly together. Are you going to do it there on the chest?
Well, I had an itch.
Oh. So now I want you to, let's just close your eyes to make it more focused on the sensation. Rubbing your hands, try to rub them the exact same lightly, and think no. Now think yes. Do you feel anything different?
No, I felt my palm go down.
I did too.
Right.
My palm go down.
It doesn't matter because I can tell you what I did, but your body may be different. What it typically does is it'll drag one way. You'll be rubbing the exact same, but it'll slow down.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden I became very aware of all the little lines in my hand. Okay? So try that again now, knowing that there should be a difference. Okay? Don't make the difference be there. Just be open to it being different. So right now you're rubbing neutral. Now, and you want to go nice and slow. It's not a fast thing. You're tuning in. The slower you go, the better. Okay? Try rubbing your palms if you didn't feel anything before. It's more the palms than the fingers. Okay? Now think yes. Just make a note of what it does. Now think no. It doesn't matter what you make up. It'll work. Did anybody feel a difference there?
Yeah.
And it's an easy one. Nobody has to know what you're doing. Anyway, but and I know somebody that would, the nail's the same way. If you got to be flexible enough to do it, is you could sit there and rub your nail, yes or no, is going to have a tacky or free or moving movement. So it's unlimited to what you can do. Some people even train themselves to get like a green flash or a yes in their mind's eye or a no. It's infinite to what you can do because it's just consciousness anyway. We're all making this stuff up. So don't go by strict rules because all the rules can be bent anyway. Just like muscle testing, it's not 100%. And if you're not clear doing the muscle testing, or if you're being muscle tested, it's gonna interfere. That's that whole blind. That's why I like blind testing, is because they don't know what they're holding. But if you say something and oh yeah, my mom used to give me that when I was 6, and it really helped me when I was 6. Well, that's just going to interfere with it. Because think about it, your thoughts make you strong or weak too. So that's why I like muscle testing to be, for the most part, blind on both parties if it's really possible. Sometimes I'll write things on a piece of paper. That way I don't even know. Because, our mind is really tricky. You can say that you're being neutral, but you may be thinking a particular way. So if you want to, you can sit there and write a bunch, and this is the thing you can do by yourself. Write a bunch of things that you're working through in your mind on a piece of paper, and you can do the hand testing or the flicking or this, but you've got to be open to the answer. In other words, if you're writing 5 different, and this is what's hard about testing yourself, If you've written 5 things down and you're wanting one to happen, well, you've interfered with how that's going to test. So it's always easier to have yourself blinded.
You know that when you had on explain, that felt real. I definitely could get answers with that.
What now?
You had one where you're muscle testing or you're testing, and if your body sways forward or backwards,
Mhm.
that works.
Yeah, and that's another way of doing that. Is the sway test.
You're in the pendulum.
Yeah, exactly. You can sit there. You know, you got to be really in tune. And just think, usually it takes a while to get in touch, and just think yes. But you don't want to be your back against anything, because you got to be open to whatever it's going to do. So you just sit there and think yes over and over, and then see what my body went backwards. Okay? So I sit there, and I'm open to it being whatever it wants to be, and I'm thinking now, no. I want to go off to the right. And it may be different all the time, and that's an easy way to do it. I mean, you can just hold something here, and that's called calibration when you check that up front. So you could be different all the time. You got to recalibrate. So it's like any given time you go, okay, body show me yes, body show me no, and then when you test, that'll be the right answer. Yeah, exactly. Like this here, I used to hate the pendulum, and I used to do this muscle testing, but it's very limiting when it comes to testing a bunch of things with somebody. Their arm can get tired, and it takes forever to get through a lot of questions. And then some of the stuff I've studied called body talk, they get into plant talk, where you're actually doing energy work on plants or animals, and it's hard to muscle test an animal or a plant unless you have a surrogate. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to start doing it. And that's really what you got to do. Is you can even do it this way. So for me, it's going to say a particular thing. And now I'm free, like I can sit here and go down this chart, in a minute. So let's say I'm holding something, and so I'm calibrating. I'm okay with this. Okay, first question, am I okay with this? No problem. Let me make it up. Okay, this is my first. Okay, it shows weak on me. But then when I go to ask, do I need it? It's strong. So then I'm going to ask, do I tap all the meridians? No. Okay. Do I tap fire, earth? Okay. Do I tap stomach? Yeah. Spleen? So stomach and spleen I got to tap. Metal? Yeah. Is it large intestine? No. Lungs? Yes. And you go through the whole thing super quick. When you're doing this muscle test here, people get tired and you have to rest the arm. But it doesn't matter how you do it. You can make up wherever you want to. And the pendulum works on those things.
So if it holds like this, like I was just doing it to myself, that means you need to tap that meridian if it holds or if it releases.
You got to first calibrate, which means let your body show you. Just try this one now. Just try to suspend all your belief and trust that your body is going to show you the answer.
Yes.
And say, okay, body, I need you to show me, I want you to show me a yes response. Okay? Now I want you to show me a no response. Is there any difference when you do that?
Mine released on that.
Okay, well there's your answer. If it's strong, as far as asking the question about a meridian, yeah. No, the weak means you need to address it.
So if I open my hand on that.
Let's specify. Ask me the specific question. What question are we?
Or I tap on my spleen. Is what I
Oh, okay, yeah. If it's strong, then the answer is yes. So a strong response means yes, right? You just got to. So if you said show me yes and it said strong,
Yeah.
show me no, I broke this.
It broke.
Do I need to tap on the spleen? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it stayed strong. Okay.
Right. And even that can get really confusing because if you don't ask the question a particular way, breaking could mean yes too. Like is can't think of an example off the top of my head. Anyway. Pendulum testing, like I said, and I actually go over on page 73 the sway testing and the sticky smooth test, which we just did, and those are fun things to play with. I've just found my own way, which is the finger flicking, which I can go through a lot of things really quick, and I don't wear my arm out or anything. And the muscle testing is very fast. When you're testing somebody, you don't sit there and struggle with them, more than a second. Like 1, 2, that's too long to struggle. It should either be weak right off or it's going to be strong right off. And the longer you struggle, the more they're just going to go weak. You know what I mean? They're not going to hold it up forever. Sticky smooth. Anybody have any questions on that?
I feel comfortable when I'm playing with
Yeah, you just have to play with it. Because in the beginning, I didn't trust it. I just started playing with it, and then it just unfolded. I was kind of leery, especially the pendulum. I don't even use a pendulum anymore. And for me, I'm kind of the purest idea that, you know, I've bought all kinds of gadgets in the past, but I would rather be able to do it with my own body, minus needing to depend upon something. Because if I lost that something or didn't have it, then I don't have that power. I've assigned it outside of myself.
it. It doesn't matter which hand, whether you're left-handed or right-handed.
No, it's whatever feels comfortable. And the finger doesn't matter either. I mean, if you got a finger you don't like, I always go to my middle one. Because to me it's stronger than all the others. Huh? So my middle finger is the strongest one for me. So I go with that one. It just happens naturally. I don't try to pick a finger.
Or if you have one that's weak, it's an injury, you know. That's
Yeah, you want to stay away from that one. Because you're gonna get a mixed signal. Well, any questions on that? That's a quick thing. The only reason I'm going over this kind of quick is we do muscle testing off and on. We've done muscle testing in this group before.
This is my second time I get it.
Yeah.
Now.
It's
It's sort of
I mean,
hard.
I think there's more for me to get, but I feel happy with what I got.
the main thing, and the main thing is you just trust that it's going to give you the answer that you need, and that's the first thing. And the second is you don't care what the answer is. If you have a charge on the answer, then don't bother asking a question. You're messed it up already. Go to somebody else that can do it blind, but that still is going to have an interference. I mean, I've gone before where it's like, okay, I'm trying to decide something, and I know what I want, but I'm wanting to have validation in some way. So I'm going to get a tarot card reading because it'll help me. Get a tarot card reading. Didn't tell me exactly what I wanted, so I'm going to get another reading. And I'm going to do these tea leaves here and throw the high chain.
Somebody gives you the answer
Yeah.
you want.
Right. I mean, so we interfere with that whole process. And here's the thing about tarot cards. Have you ever thought about how they really work? Have you ever played with tarot cards?
What are they
You know, you shuffle the cards and they have like the decks, different cards mean different things. They're called tarot cards. There's runes that you can throw too. But have you ever thought about that? You're sitting here shuffling a random deck of cards.
All I know is they seem like magic when I do them. It's like I know there's something going on there. It's not just my imagination.
Oh, it's a Ouija board.
I used to do that when I was a kid. It spooked me out though. I quit.
I'll show you how they magically work.
Mainly because it was like, because I knew there was something to that. And I didn't get it.
So
Whatever you
Edie,
program
I want you to focus
No,
on
that
something.
wasn't it for me. It was
and
like,
just shuffle the
but I
deck.
could tell with the board that
So
it
just
wasn't-
focus on something, but you got to stay focused on the one thing and shuffle. So let's be quiet a second and let Edie shuffle these cards. It's an experiment, huh? Just stay focused on what you have in
What is
mind.
that book, John? It's the Tao?
Interpretation.
It's a deck of
Cards.
Tao cards?
Mhm.
Really?
You work for
That's cool.
Yeah, I got both her cards. They're very Zen-like. You know, typically there's a negative and a positive meaning with cards, and it doesn't really go into a negative meaning.
Has anyone ever seen Mythic Tarot? Oh, I like those.
There's thousands of them. And then when you're done shuffling them, split them into three stacks. Okay, now put the middle one here. I'll do it. Middle one here, here. That's just how I do it. I try to do it the same every time. So, this is the answer to your question. What number's on there?
44?
44?
Let me see, wait, because I can't see.
I remember the name of it. If it's not 44, it's probably 40.
40.
40. Okay. It was
Deliverance.
the answer was deliverance. So, the time of deliverance is captured best in the image of a thunderstorm. As in nature, when there has been a long dry spell and thunderheads are gathering on the horizon, the time for deliverance is at hand. Before a storm breaks, the accumulation of energy and tension can build to a point where it feels almost unbearable. Then, the sudden release of pent-up energy in the lightning and thunder delivers the earth from the oppressive condition in the gust of wind and cooling rain. And you're in the midst of that anyway with your life because you're about to go out of a very restrictive.
And I felt, and I was yesterday all day long with that for 12 hours.
Really?
Under pressure.
So awareness and grounding are especially needed at this time, a time like this. Lest you get swept off your feet by your own overwhelming sense of relief. The small ordinary things of life still need careful and ongoing attention, and taking care of business is the best preventive medicine to ward off the letdown that can often follow such a high. So you're in the groove of a high, but don't let yourself get too caught up in it and forget some small things. That's not to say it's inappropriate to rejoice or feel unburdened now. Rather, enjoy and keep your feet on the ground. When a thunderstorm is past, there is an uncommon freshness and sense of renewal in the air, and there is often a fair amount of debris on the ground that needs sorting through and cleaning up. It is vital now to identify and clear away any destructive thoughts or actions that might have created the heavy atmosphere that led up to the storm. Taking time for reflection will strengthen your ability to learn from your actions and help you gain the clarity not to repeat the same mistake in the future, no matter what the source of past tension is. Now it is possible to observe them with less passion and greater equanimity, and it is from this detached perspective that you can best understand what steps you need to take to move forward. If any hurts or misunderstanding remain unaddressed in this current situation, it's time to acknowledge them, do whatever it is possible to heal the wounds or clear up the misunderstandings, and move on. There is a window of opportunity now to move quickly and decisively into a new order of things, and this is best accomplished with a heartfelt gratitude for all the lessons learned. So does that fit your question?
Nothing can be worse.
So this is how tarot cards work. It's consciousness, it's energy. So just like a muscle, think of it related to a muscle test. I will pull, like when I open up a medicine cabinet and whatever gets my attention, same thing with these cards. As you're shuffling them, you're pulling one particular card to you, and it doesn't matter how the hell you do it, it's going to show up there. Because this reality is a hologram. That answers this more than before. So it's going to show up for you no matter what. I don't care what you do. You can just throw it up in the air and let it fall. That card will get your attention. It's coming to you no matter what. That's how you get the exact cards for you. It's the energy that you're holding on to. The only reason I mentioned tarot cards is because if you're holding that energy around a pill or something, you interfere with what you're going to get, the answer. So muscle testing, unless you can be really, really clear, is really difficult to do. That's why I recommend that you at least get muscle tested by somebody else. At least there's another factor in there that's neutralized. Maybe it's not completely neutral, but it's a lot more neutral, bless you, than you would have been had you tried to do it all yourself. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to end that part of the muscle testing. We'll be going over again that soon.